Skydance and Paramount are kicking things off with some seriously big moves. During a recent call, the studios laid out their huge lineup of upcoming movies leading into 2026, and it's packed with major franchises. Alongside updates on heavy hitters like Top Gun and Star Trek, the new leadership team, co-chaired by Josh Greenstein and Dana Goldberg, dropped one announcement that really got fans talking. Paramount is officially doubling down on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. According to The Hollywood Reporter, a live-action adaptation of the Last Ronin comic is now in development, and it's going to be the first ever R-rated Turtles movie. Yeah, that means we might finally see a ninja actually use his weapons the way they were meant to be used. No more pulled punches or toy-safe fight choreography just to keep things family-friendly. This is the kind of movie hardcore TMNT fans have been waiting for decades. Kevin Eastman, the co-creator of the Turtles, recently shared an exciting update comparing The Last Ronin to Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns. He's made it clear this one's going to be dark, brutal, and unapologetically mature. Eastman also gave props to Paramount for keeping him closely involved throughout the process, not just with the comics and animation side of things, but with the film itself. He said the team has always treated him like part of the creative circle, even when they didn't have to. From what he's seen so far, the filmmakers behind The Last Ronin love the story for the same reasons he does, because it's his personal love letter to The Dark Knight Returns. Like Miller's iconic story, it's set in a kind of alternate timeline, one that isn't chained to every piece of TMNT continuity. It stands completely on its own. But while it takes that creative freedom, Eastman says it's still deeply rooted in the classic Mirage universe that started it all. The creative team behind The Last Ronin is already looking stacked. James Wan, the guy behind Aquaman and The Conjuring, is reportedly in talks to direct. And honestly, that makes perfect sense. He's got the blockbuster action experience and the dark, atmospheric storytelling chops this project needs. The script comes from Tyler Burton Smith, which only adds to the hype, since he's proven he can balance intensity and emotion in his writing. Then there's Walter Hamada, who's set to executive produce. He used to run the DC Extended Universe, which has fans split. Some are excited about the level of experience he brings, while others are worried he might drag the Turtles into that same chaotic comic book mess. But let's give the guy some credit. Hamada also helped produce The Batman, along with horror hits like It and The Conjuring. And since The Last Ronin is confirmed to be rated R, his background in dark, mature storytelling might actually be perfect for it. If anything, this movie could end up having that same moody vibe as The Batman. Think rain-soaked alleys, brooding monologues, and thick cinematic tension. No wonder fans' expectations are sky high. Tyler Burton Smith recently revealed that the script is basically done. They're just tightening up the ending and refining a few scenes. Rumor has it, Paramount isn't stopping at one film either. Apparently, they're already laying the groundwork for a full-blown trilogy, something insiders are calling the Roninverse. Supposedly, the first movie will drop hints to set up potential sequels. That's ambitious, but it's also risky. We've seen too many studios rush into universe building before even nailing the first movie. What The Last Ronin really needs is to stand strong on its own. No post-credits scene, no forced cameos. Just a brutal, beautifully told story with heart, loss, and unforgettable action. If it's good enough, the fans will beg for more. And honestly, maybe it's better to let it live as one complete masterpiece instead of stretching it into something hollow. Of course, in today's Hollywood, where sequels and reboots rule everything, it's no surprise Paramount wants to turn The Last Ronin into a franchise. The Ninja Turtles brand is practically eternal. They've reinvented themselves every decade and always found new fans. But this version feels different. It's not trying to sell toys or nostalgia. It's aiming to hit like Logan did, raw, emotional, and deeply human. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the plot will stay close to the original Last Ronin comic, but the filmmakers are adding new twists to keep even die-hard readers guessing. One of the most fascinating parts of the comic was the mystery of the lone surviving turtle. For most of the story, his identity is a secret. He carries all four brothers' weapons and wears a black, colorless mask. That reveal hit hard. But imagine if the movie flips that, if they change which turtle survives. That would be a bold move, but also a brilliant way to keep fans guessing and make this adaptation stand on its own. It's risky, sure, but if done right, it could make The Last Ronin one of the most talked about comic book movies in years. Either way, this film is shaping up to be something special, a dark, emotional reimagining that replaces nostalgia with weight and consequence. Whether it kicks off a new cinematic universe or stands as one definitive chapter, The Last Ronin might just redefine what a Ninja Turtles movie can be. The Last Ronin could be the movie that throws the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles back into the cultural spotlight. Not as goofy, pizza-loving mascots, but as something darker, deeper, and way more mature. This isn't another nostalgia-fueled cash grab aimed at kids. It's a story crafted for the generation that grew up with the Turtles and is ready to see them evolve. If you haven't read the Last Ronin miniseries, it's basically the final chapter of the TMNT saga, a brutal, emotional send-off. The story starts with one surviving turtle whose identity is kept secret for most of the comic. He carries all four brothers' weapons and is haunted by the ghosts of his fallen family. His mission? Pure vengeance. To overthrow Oroku Hiroto, the ruthless ruler of a futuristic New York City and the grandson of the Shredder himself. It's an epic cinematic story that absolutely deserves the big screen treatment. Like Old Man Logan and The Dark Knight Returns, The Last Ronin is about the end of an era, a last desperate stand. These kinds of stories hit differently. They're not about setting up sequels or teasing spin-offs. They're about closure. When James Mangold made Logan, he showed how powerful a story can be when it's not trying to sell you the next chapter. You feel every scar, every loss, every choice. And that's exactly what The Last Ronin promises. The raw emotion of watching the last turtle carry the weight of his family's legacy, knowing he's all alone. The ending won't be pretty, but like any great samurai tale, it's about going out with honor and purpose. If your only memory of the Turtles is from Saturday morning cartoons and endless pizza jokes, this version will be a shock. The original TMNT comics by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird were dark, gritty, and violent, much closer to Sin City than SpongeBob. Over the years, that edge faded as the franchise leaned into humor and kid-friendly adventures. But The Last Ronin drags it right back to its roots, and since it's set in the future, it's not the end of TMNT as a whole, just the end of one turtle's journey. If this first movie sticks the landing, Paramount is clearly ready to go all in with sequels and spin-offs to build out the Ronin-verse. It's a bold move, turning a family franchise into a grim, emotional saga. But it might be exactly what the Turtles need to stay relevant for a new generation. The Last Ronin isn't a reboot, it's a reinvention, one that's not afraid to alienate some fans if it means truly connecting with others. So yeah, get ready, because this time the Turtles aren't cracking jokes, they're taking names. If everything goes right, The Last Ronin could mark a turning point not just for the Turtles, but for how studios handle legacy franchises in general. Instead of chasing trends or recycling the same safe formula, Paramount seems willing to let the story breathe, to make something bold, emotional, and self-contained. A movie like this could remind people that comic book adaptations don't need massive shared universes to matter. They just need heart, vision, and the courage to take risks. And maybe that's what makes The Last Ronin so exciting. It feels like the kind of film that could stand proudly on its own while still honoring everything that came before. If it pulls off that balance between nostalgia and reinvention, we won't just be watching another TMNT movie, we'll be witnessing the rebirth of a cultural icon, one that finally embraces its shadows and proves the Turtles were never just heroes for kids, but legends built to last.